Hello everyone and welcome to the 10th week of the Odyssey of Music course. Now, in week 9, we focused on stage presence and performance readiness. How can you carry yourself, how you deliver with confidence, and how to connect with your audience when you're on the stage. But here is something important. Even the best performance can fall apart if the instrument itself is not in good condition. Because at the end of the day, your voice is your instrument. So today we are shifting our focus. We are going deeper into vocal health, how to properly maintain your voice, and also how to build musical literacy. So you're not just singing, but truly understanding what you're singing. Now let's get into it. All right. So today we are cracking up the owner's manual for what is honestly the most personal and powerful instrument you will ever own. And that is your voice. I mean, think about it for a second. A guitarist would never just leave their prized instrument out in the rain, right? Because without it, they can't play. So why do we do that to our own voices? Like every single day we shout over loud music, we try to talk in noisy places, we sing when we are completely dehydrated. We just forget that, unlike that guitar, you can't just run to the store and buy a new set of vocal cords. And that is really the core idea here. Your voice is your instrument. It is totally one of a kind, completely irreplaceable. The habits you are building right now, today, are going to decide if it serves you for a lifetime or if it just breaks down way too soon. So yeah, let's figure out how to take care of it. Okay, so we are going to start with the basics, the physical hardware. You could say, how do you actually maintain the instrument itself? Well, it all boils down to just a few key principles. Think of these as the foundation for absolutely everything else. And here they are, the 5 pillars of vocal health. Now look, these are not complicated at all, but I tell you what, they are non-negotiable. If you can master these, you are going to build a foundation for a voice that's built to last. So let's break the pillars down one after the other. The first pillar is hydration. This is a big one. Think of your vocal cords like some tiny, super fast moving engine parts. They absolutely need constant lubrication to work right. So you definitely have to aim for about 6 to 8 glasses of water every day. And a little pro tip here is, be careful what you drink on performance days. You have to limit stuff that dehydrates you, like coffee, and you have to steer clear of drinks that are way too hot or way too cold, because they can actually constrict the very muscles you are trying to relax. Okay, let's bust a huge myth right now. The number one cause of vocal damage is not getting sick. It's misuse. It's the idea that if you just push your voice harder and harder, it will get stronger. No. As you can see right here, you're not building stamina when you do that. You are literally building scar tissue. Real lasting strength comes from good technique, not just brute force. And this is so crucial to understand. If it hurts to sing, that's not a sign of hard work. It is a sign to stop. It is your body screaming at you that your technique is off. The answer is never to just push through the pain. It is to stop. Take a breath, reassess, and fix how you are singing. Not just keep trying to sing more. So let's try to think about vocal use in a totally different way. I want you to consider this idea of a vocal budget. Yeah, a budget. Just think of your voice like a bank account. Every single day you are making deposits and also you are making withdrawals. And I promise you, this one simple idea can completely change how you manage your vocal energy. Look at it here. On one side, you have your deposits. Getting a good night's sleep, staying hydrated, and yep, just plain old silence. And then on the other side, you have the withdrawals. Things like shouting, talking way too much, and trying to sing with bad technique. If you have a big performance coming up, you have to save up. You just can't overdraw your account the night before and then expect to have anything left in the tank when it really counts. Think about an athlete, right? A sprinter would never just roll out of bed and immediately run a 100-meter dash at full speed. Of course not. The warm-up. Your voice is exactly the same. The warm-up gets the instrument ready to go, and the cool-down, which, let's be honest, most people skip, is what prevents soreness and brings your voice safely back to a resting state. These are the absolute non-negotiable bookends to any serious vocal work. You know, your voice is talking to you all the time. You just have to learn how to listen to it. And these signs right here, these are not suggestions, they are commands. If you are getting hoarse, it means your vocal cords are swollen. If you are losing your upper range, it means they are under a ton of strain. This isn't a sign that you are failing. It's just a signal that your instrument is telling you, hey, I need you to stop and let me recover. Alright, we've talked about how to maintain the instrument. That's part one. But you know, a perfectly maintained guitar is pretty useless if you don't actually know how to play it. And for us, that means learning to read the language of music. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine two choirs. Choir A, they learn everything by ear. Someone plays a part, they repeat it. It takes forever and mistakes just get baked in because, of course, nobody's really sure what the right notes are supposed to be. Now the second choir, Choir B, they get the sheet music. They can see the melody, they can see the rhythm in just one rehearsal. They are already past the notes and they are working on the cool stuff, the artistry and expression. What's the difference? It's literacy. It's that huge leap from being dependent to being independent. So, what's the first tool in the toolbox for reading music? Well, it's actually something a lot of us learned as kids. Do, re, mi, re, do. This system is officially called Solfa, and you can think of it as the alphabet of singing. Each one of those syllables connects to a specific pitch in the scale. Once you really lock in that connection between the syllable and its sound, bam, you have just unlocked the ability to sing almost any melody you see. But here's the real magic of Solfa. It is not just about memorizing the name. It's about understanding the feeling of each note. See, do feels stable. I mean, do from do, re, mi, fa, sol. The do, it feels stable, kind of like your home. And mi feels bright. So on the other hand, feels really strong and open. And we have T, which feels tense, like it just has to resolve back to do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Do you get that? So when you internalize these feelings, you start to just know intuitively where you are in the scale. And that is the real secret to sight singing. Okay, so pitch is only half the battle, right? The other half is rhythm. Basically, how long you hold each note, and the good news here is it's totally visual. The shape of the note itself tells you everything you need to know. Look at this open circle. That's a long whole note. As you start to fill it in and add stems and flags, the notes get shorter and shorter. It's just a really logical system of cutting things in half from 4 beats, 2 beats, 1 beat to a half beat and so on. Okay, here is a huge pro tip for you. Please, never try to learn the pitches and the rhythm at the exact time. It is just too much for your brain to process at once. Instead, do this simple 3-step thing. First, just look at the rhythm. That is it. Clap it out. Get that timing in your body. Once that feels totally solid, then you can go back and add the pitches. I'm telling you, this one little change will be an absolute game changer for your accuracy. Okay, so we've talked about maintaining the instrument, we've covered reading the language. Now, let's bring those two big ideas together and talk about the final step, which is moving from just making sound to creating real artistry. And yeah, the truth is, this is what it all comes down to. The complete musician gets this. True artistry, it is not just about having a pretty voice, and it's not just about having technical skill. It's the fusion of both. It's having a healthy, reliable instrument and the knowledge to play it with confidence and real expression. I want you to think about it like this. Becoming musically literate is not about passing some test. It's about unlocking your own potential. It's about freedom, the freedom to learn any piece or music you want, to collaborate with anyone, anywhere. It's about becoming a truly confident, independent artist and opening up doors that you may have thought were closed to you forever. So we are at the end. You've got the owner's manual in your hands. You know the pillars of vocal health, the fundamental of reading the language. So the only real question left is the one you see right here. You only get one voice. What will you do today to invest in your instrument? See you next week. And bye for now.